I can leave it with you. This is Journey to America Narrative Short Stories, and it's a project that my students have been doing for the last 4 years. And so who my students are is they are EL students who are at the top of their level, and they should be going into a regular English class next year, or they should be graduating. And our curriculum for English 4 is modeled after the 9th grade curriculum. And we started in 2013, 2014 with our project with 20 EL South students from those countries. And now we have even grown even more with 36 EL South students. And the last 2 years we've included Davies in this as well. And this year we represented 14 different countries. So our Journey to America project is funded by the Eleanor Lang Law Grant, and we have a process every year that we follow. We do the process that's listed above. We do modeling, and we address mental health issues when we first start speaking about our stories, and we read other stories that we see for immigration and our past stories as well. I bring in community speakers into the classroom, refugee and immigrants that tell their story to help get the students understanding that it's okay to tell their story and that it should be celebrated. And this year I added Imagine Thriving into the classroom. And this is a mental health organization that talks a lot about it's okay. With my students, she talked about it's okay to tell your story. It's okay. Those feelings are going to come up, and how to deal with those feelings and some resources for them. We did a Narrative 4 exchange, which is an amazing exchange this year. I just became a facilitator in March for this. And for the Narrative 4, we had a senior English class, which was mostly Native students and my students. And they did an exchange with stories, a little snippet from their life, and then they had to retell it in first person the next day. And so that was a little fun addition to get us thinking about stories. The writing workshop is 8 weeks, and I started with this at the very beginning with Kevin Brooks, and he is a professor at NDSU. He brings in his 40-plus students, and they volunteer in my classroom throughout the 8 weeks, helping the students with the technical writing part. And this year is new. Lisa Toomey and Jackie Busey from Concordia actually went out and bought our other book, which I'll talk about in a second, Green Card Youth Voices, Stories from a Fargo High School. And they're using it as curriculum in Concordia as part of their class. And so those students actually came to our class and worked with the students in my current English 4 class on their stories for this year. Publishing on our class website, we have a class website, and all stories from all the years are published in ebook form, so you can read those there. And then this year we published 600 hard copies, and they were distributed to teachers in the community, and they look like this. And actually this year is, as the State Teacher of the Year, I attended a conference in January, and I met all the other 54 state teachers and territories of the year, and they really loved the project. And in the end, I ended up mailing a copy of the book to every single one of them. And so they really enjoyed their copies. So our Fargo stories are in the hands of at least one person in every single state and territory, plus actually South Africa. I have a friend there that has it as well, and in China. And then our presentations at the end of the publishing, we go and do a public reading at NDSU. This year we also had so many students that we split them up, and we did one at Fargo South as well. And then just as a little addition, Concordia invited us and actually created a session just for my kids and did a session for Martin Luther King Day, and our students read. And I want to go fast because I want to get to the student stories, so I might be talking fast. Here's some awesome celebrations that we've had. We've been published in many magazines. We've been on the radio. We've been on TV. We've gone to nursing homes. We've gone to other schools, including West Fargo, and so just some amazing things. And a really amazing thing is Aline, who's here with me today, and 2 other students went to the state capitol, and they read their stories, and they testified against the refugee bill that was going to ban refugees coming into North Dakota. And so that was kind of a neat thing for them to do as well. So then from that project, last year stemmed our Green Card Youth Voices project. And this is a book that we are still promoting. We have a reading tomorrow in Mickville, North Dakota, if you're interested. It's 100 miles away. I had no idea where it was, but Aline is also and Awkward are going to that. And then there's one this Saturday at Melberg's Christian Bookstore in Moorhead. So if you're interested, I can get you more information on that. So they've been reading these stories all across North Dakota. And here's a picture of our youth summit we had March 23rd to the 25th. I took 17 of our authors to Minneapolis, and we joined the St. Paul and Minneapolis authors as well, and they put on a huge youth summit bringing in immigrant and refugee leaders from around the United States. We met at Target Field, and we had it all to ourselves, and we had a private tour. We did the Minneapolis Science Museum and the Book Loft, and so We had an amazing time. They learned about public speaking techniques, they learned about leadership, and so that was kind of a very fun thing for the students to do. These are some outcomes that we've had. As you can see, we've had some Scholastic Art and Writing Award winners. We participated in the Act Up Cabaret in December with the community theater. And Jim Shaw will write an article soon about us. And one of the neat things is my students noticed that the North Dakota tourism campaign really didn't have a lot of diversity in it when they were promoting North Dakota. And so they made a little video, and they invited the North Dakota tourism campaign, and mostly Josh Dumel, to North Dakota to come back and to actually come into our classroom so that we can share stories. And they also wanted to volunteer themselves to be in any campaigns, and they responded. Josh didn't yet, but he will. They responded, and they're going to come April 16th at 11 o'clock, and they are going to talk about featuring our students in their ad campaigns to promote North Dakota. And so this is some project additions for next year. We're going to actually partner with Concordia and NDSU to do 2 public readings. I'm going to add poetry and songs into the book with each of the students' stories. I met Lula Saleh, who's an amazing musician and African-American woman in Minneapolis, and she's going to come and work with the students. And then we're also going to take it further, and we're going to have the students create a canvas painting of their story, depicting the emotions from their story, and we're going to work with the Plains Art Museum to do that. And then we're going to continue our mental health. So there's some extensions for next year. So I want to get to the good stuff. So this is Alina Wase, and she is going to read her story called Finally Over. They're just reading a little snippet of their story because their stories are originally about 10 minutes long, so they're just going to read a little snippet. She was raised in Burundi, Rwanda, and Kenya, and she came to the U.S. on March 16, 2015. She came with her family and 4 of her sisters and brother. And her mother. Alina's is in 11th grade at Fargo South High School. She is a soccer player. She speaks 5 languages: Kinyarwanda, Kiswahili, English, Kiomulenge, and French. And in the future, she would like to go to college and become a social worker. And as you can see, she's also in JROTC, and she's in leadership for North Dakota. She's in everything. So without further ado, here's Aline.
Okay, first of all, thank you for having us here, and I appreciate. My story is called Finally Over. Bang, bang, we all froze in fear. We were studying our night prayers when we heard gunshots. Go to your rooms and hide, my mom yelled. My 4 sisters and I quickly ran to the bedroom and sat on the bed. Help, help, someone yelled from outside. I need to help them, my dad pleaded with my mother. Don't go, we also need you here, my mother replied in a scared voice. It was August 13th, 2004. We were in Gatumba at the border of Congo and Burundi. We had moved from our homeland in Congo to Gatumba for refuge, but the people who we ran to and lived among turned into our enemies. We hope that there will not be any more bloodshed of our people. We were being chased out of our country because the tribe members rejected us, since we were not the part of the tribe. In a period of less than 2.5 hours, more than 166 people were killed. My father told us to go outside and find a way to go to the next camp while he was helping those who were wounded. We started running, and in a blink of an eye, we heard a gunshot, and we all stopped. We looked back, and it was my father. He had been shot. My mother wanted to go back and check on him, but she wasn't strong enough to do so. My caring elder sister went back to see if he was still breathing. My sisters and I eventually followed her, and quickly, by surprise, we found him breathing. My father started talking to us, then suddenly one of the aggressive soldiers came and pushed us away from my dad. He poured gas on his body and lit him on fire right in front of us as we all cried. Let's kill them, one of the soldiers told each other. They disagreed about something, but eventually left us there crying for help. My father's body eventually turned into ash. There was nothing more left for us to do but to bury the ash. We left to look for my mother, and on our way we met the UN and Red Cross workers who were coming to help those who were wounded. We tried to run away from them because we thought they were the enemies. Stop there, we're here to help you, they kindly yelled toward us. Let's go, my sister suggested. We went back with them and they asked us some personal questions. It wasn't until in the morning that we saw my mother again, and she had completely lost hope. She thought that we were killed too. To be continued. Thank you.
Roshan Gurung is a senior at Fargo South High School. He came to the U.S. when he was 15 years old from Pathri refugee camp. He came with his grandma, mom, and 2 brothers. He speaks 3 languages, Nepali, English, and a little bit of Hindi. He plays soccer for Fargo South High School. His favorite subjects are math and history. He wants to become a theologist and a musician in the future. Roshan.
Many years of struggle. It was 2014 when we took a plane to America. In the plane, we asked for food, and they brought us food, but it wasn't good. Yeah, it wasn't good. It was very different than what I was used to, so I didn't even eat for a day. In our culture, if your parents cooked food for you, but you didn't like it, your parents would probably say, I have provided food for you guys. If you like it, eat. Otherwise, you'll be hungry. So we went hungry. In the morning, we arrived in Fargo. The next day, I had to start my school. I didn't even know and I didn't even understand what I was learning there. And what I was learning there, I was confused and nervous. The first day went fine, but the next day was so embarrassing. When I was in the study hall class, I wanted to go to the bathroom, but I knew zero English. I walked up to the teacher and said, "Me toilet?" She just looked at me like I was a weird person or something. "Me toilet?" I said again. As I know now, she did not understand me because here they call bathroom or restroom, not a toilet. So I stayed in the class for 5 minutes. Finally, there was one girl who asked, "Can I go to the bathroom?" And teacher let her go. I wonder, what does bathroom mean? I thought about the word bathroom in my head, bathroom, bathroom, like that. And after 20 minutes, when I felt confident to say that, so I asked my study hall teacher to go to the bathroom. "Oh, you mean bathroom? Yes, you may," she told me. Oh man, it's finally, she let me go to the bathroom. Yeah, it was long journey from Nepal to America. I did not enjoy it, but after many years of struggle, I hope my family and myself will have a better life in this country, where is filled with opportunities and the diversity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being a part of our community and our schools and for helping us to understand just a little bit about you. Does anyone have, and it's in your language, and your presentation is just fabulous. Very, very nice. Does anyone have questions or comments? Thank you again. You're welcome to stay for the entire meeting, but if you need to take off, feel free. All right, we don't have anyone that signed up to speak this evening, so we'll move on to staff reports. And the first report is on community outreach and communications monitoring, CTE advisory committees, with Dr. Jonas. Welcome.
First of all, that is absolutely a most amazing presentation that we just saw from those students and that teacher. I just can't even get over it. I have to follow that now, so I'm going to struggle with this, what I would want to say, straightforward communication to the board as a report, but I think that sets the tone for this community outreach and partnership. Everything that she just described in those students' experience were about community outreach and partnerships, and their life will be better for it. So that's our business, and it's very rewarding in the middle of it all. I want to thank the IT department of Fargo Public Schools. Bill Westrick is always on top of everything, has PowerPoints ready. He always have everything ready for me to go. They're always here to support, and I truly appreciate it. It's seamless, so thanks to the IT folks as well. Moving on, the goal in the Fargo Public Schools District is to set out a strategic plan and follow that plan and measure the results. Well, one of the areas that we are focusing on tonight is under Community Outreach, Strategic Initiative 5, and it will be goals 4 and 5 that I'll be visiting a little bit about. In our world, in career and technical education, like I said, you just saw the lens of community partnerships and outreach from the EL side. My lens will be the career and technical education side. And so my focus will be on sharing a little story about advisory committees, the work experiences that we focus on, how real world projects are relevant to what we do in our curriculum and classrooms, business partnerships and some adventures we're working on now, and some ideas that we have moving forward. And then also the real important post-secondary connections we are trying to make as we move forward from secondary to post-secondary. Why invest in CTE? I know along the way when we talk about the whole child, and sometimes there's all the challenges that go into educating our students. The areas of career and tech ed that we find really important are the idea that students find relevance and exploration and career preparation through these experiences. At times people feel like maybe they're a little more expensive to operate because we have high-tech labs, but when we look at it, it incorporates those 21st century skills, project-based learning, and real-world experiences that we are trying to transcend through all of our curriculums. We know that students that participate in CTE have a higher graduation rate, so that's important for us as a district. We also know that career tech is for all students, and sometimes we have a tendency to say that it's for those students, but we really want all students to experience and explore. It's a 2 + 2 + 2 depending on their career pathways. Workforce skills are important, and of course we want students to be able to have some idea of what they want to do upon graduation so that we can save some money for parents and students as they move forward in their careers. So that's the reason why, and some of the areas and characteristics when we think of career tech ed, I'll focus on advisory committees in a minute, but just to kind of go back to the important pieces, we want high quality CTE programs at Fargo Public Schools. And those come through thinking of career pathways, having teachers that are prepared, applying academics, the projects, the partnerships, the resources in the labs, and we move down to our career-ready experiences. So it's not just about technical skills, it's also about soft skills and those hard skills in life. The curriculum is a foundation. As I said earlier, we, even though we partnership with our businesses, we go back to the standards. We talk about what do we want our students to know and be able to do, how will we determine that they know what they're doing, and what will we do if they don't. And that's really important for us to maintain that integrity, and we continue to work with that. Industry credentials are a little bit different in our area because we have students that can complete their CNA, maybe an OSHA certification. So anytime we can reach out and have an industry credential that mirrors or aligns with our curriculum, we try to do that as well. And again, dual credit post-secondary alignment is important to us. As we move forward, one of the pillars of career education has been the advisory committees. And many of you in this room are probably on an advisory committee, maybe not for the school itself, but maybe for your own business or organization. We are required for each of our career tech programs to have an advisory committee, and they are required to meet a minimum of twice a year to set goals and programs and determine what they can do to ensure that curriculum aligns with industry needs. In this example, in a picture, this is just one program. We have our construction staff, and we started out when I was first here that it was Fargo Public and West Fargo had their separate construction committees. And they were kind of limping along, but they all needed to support, and they all had the same questions. And since I was working across both districts, I said, let's create some efficiency here, not only for you as teachers, but a mechanism for learning, and also for our business partners that we're tapping into to attend. So instead of having 4 meetings, now we have 2 meetings. And from that, at this table, you can see that we have, representation from ROARS, M-State, HBA, HBC, our instruction teachers, Simonson Lumber, people that we work with and sitting on these meetings. And what happens through this process is they help us, advise us on what is happening in their current industry, how can they assist us. One of a big project that we were struggling with, if you see the house on the lower right, it's located on 1406 16th and a half Street over by Fargo South, and the city had the empty lot. The city had a need for a house. We had a need to build the house close to Fargo South. Our struggle was we needed to have a garage built before school started to put our tools in. We also needed the basement built so that the students could build the house. We kind of struggled because we didn't have the funds to do the whole project, but because of our partnership with HBA and HBC, we went to them and we said, well, how can we make this work? And so together, what we did is in the summer, the Herdina Academy from M-State, they came over and they built the garage. We didn't have enough money to build the garage, but HBC and HB Care and all the construction companies donated around $12,000 to get that project done. So now we had the garage. It was a real experience for the summer school session. Our students came in and we had the foundation built by a company, and then our students built the house. And so it was just this powerful project for our students and our community, and it just shows what you can do when you work together. So that's an example of how we work with our advisory committees. What's really important too to know is not only do we have our staff ask volunteers to come and help us design our curriculum, we encourage our staff to sit on advisory committees. So at NDSU, they're on the FACS department. At M-State, at NDSCS, we have some representation of Fargo public staff in many of those areas as well. One of the challenges with our current model, I'm going to go back to this picture again. On that committee, 2 of those members, one retired and one moved on to a new job. So with advisory committees, if you only focus on the person, you can lose the integrity of the committee. So one of the goals that I have in working forward with our community is how do we look at the bigger picture, which is called sector partnerships and next generation, where we look at the larger organizations themselves. So focusing on HBA, we can sustain the next person that came in. If we focus on Tech ND instead of Microsoft, when Microsoft staff turn over, we can focus on all of the tech industry. So that's what we will be working on now through our committees, is how do we find the larger organizations, so when individuals move on, the organizations still support the schools as well. So that's kind of in its work right now, and through a concept called Next Generation Sector Partnerships. If you have an electronic copy of this PowerPoint, you can click on Learn More, and there will be a video related to that topic. Something that's really increasing in awareness is the new ESSA Choice Ready model, and an emphasis on creating work experiences for all students. I think everyone can agree that job shadows and having students go out to job sites is a tremendous influence on helping them think about what they'd like to do or a career they'd like to pursue, or maybe not from that experience. What we can see happening is with everyone trying to reach out to the community, it's becoming a little saturated at times. We have gaps. Some companies are getting numerous requests while others are left behind. So hopefully through this next couple years, we're working to develop maybe more of a model with our career counselors and our career advisors. And we talk about the awareness that happens within our school, and then exploration that happens within our school and then off campus, and then how do we move into the more advanced settings by juniors and senior year on a work experience job shadow type of setting. So we can be a little more systematic in our approach. Here's examples of in-school work-based experiences. When they're building a car, that is a work experience. We forget that it's inside of our school. What a tremendous opportunity. We have students running restaurants. We have students completing CNA testing. We have a child care careers. We have a marketing our store. Those are in-house examples of work experiences, which make it a little seamless and scalable. So those are great projects. Moving beyond to the bigger model of off-campus partnerships. What we're working currently with, and Dr. Schatz has been involved in this as well, is Fueling the Future, which is a campaign by the Chamber of Commerce. And what they're working on is some strategic goals across the Cass Clay region. And we're talking about a variety of goals, but one of the goals that has been influenced is this work experience, and they are really excited to work with us. Hopefully, we can secure somebody that will work specifically with the schools on the workforce side so they can develop some partnerships, and then we'll work on the school side for the systems and then marry those two together. Right now, our teachers are trying to teach, set up job shadows, have students go out to the job shadows, and it's a little hectic. So if we can have them secure the sites, then we'll be better off as far as keeping that system in balance. So that's in the works over the next couple years. What is tremendous in Fargo Public Schools is the support that we do have that we do not even know about, that happens on a regular basis just from great teachers, as you saw before my presentation. But companies are willing to work with us. You can see up in the upper left-hand corner, Girls in Engineering, NDSU, John Deere, KLJ, Bobcat, Moore Engineering. Those folks are just invested in making sure that day happens every single year. We have the Metro Area Tech Camp where that is being supported. Case IH project, $25,000 grant to create project-based learning. Girls in Aviation between Hector Airport and the Jet Center. It goes on and on. John Deere Robotics. John Deere has been a tremendous supporter of the robotics leagues. We could fill this room with the partnerships that are happening ongoing, and it really enriches our students' lives. So we want to just celebrate our community because they really care about what our education is. The unique experience continues with our Cass County partnership as our schools continue to work together, and our advisory committees are joining. Like I said, across multiple, like our information technologies, we are looking at things in a regional aspect now, not just Fargo Public Schools, so how can we scale and take advantage? And so that continues, again, with advisory committees as well. We have a governing board, we have with our school board members, John serves for Fargo Public Schools on our governing board, Dr. Gross is on our advisory council, and then our principals meet a couple times a year as well collectively so that we can organize our curriculum. Here's an example of equipment that we cannot purchase nor have room for that is great to have a resource. Our diesel program, $150,000 worth of semis were in the classroom for a few days to work on. The aviation students had a Young Eagles flight for a day, and volunteers brought their planes in. At Fargo North, Chef Kyle came in from NDSCS and had an experience for the students. And down at Island Park, 1 Million Cups, the Fargo South students hosted it for the morning, one day for their entrepreneurship experience. And those are just a few snapshots of big venues and places that, without that partnership, our students wouldn't experience it. My motto forever will be, I think at this point, the right student in the right path for the right reasons. And how do we help our students figure that out? Valuing every career and every job because they all matter to us. And so whether it's 2-year, 4-year military apprenticeship, how do we help students be successful in life? And I'm proud to be here representing a host of amazing career and technical education teachers and students to share this story. And we just really want to thank our business advisory committees and the members that step up and help us, because they make it happen for us. And so it's really powerful. So as far as Fargo Public Schools strategic plan, thank you for including us in this opportunity to partner and share our story. That's it.
Thank you very much. So fantastic to learn about. Anyone have questions or comments? John?
As Dr. Jonas said, I serve on the Cass County Career and Technical Education Center, and I want to recognize Dr. Jonas for the leadership and the passion you bring to this. And this would not all be here without you. You've done an excellent job, and showing up at those board meetings. It's so exciting. These programs, when we talk about innovation and education, are really just yet another proving ground and a fertile plot of soil that these are growing from. And the potential for these to shape the future of education in our community and to be guideposts for the region and the country are just really outstanding, and it's really, really exciting to see what's happening with this. And so thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. John's always there and keeps us on track, and we get things done, and that's very appreciated, very much so. So thank you. I wish you a great evening. It's beautiful outside. So.
I know Dr. Schatz has a few words he would like to share as well, please.
Well, Denise, I can't let you go because it's my last chance to have you in public like this, so I'm going to have to say a couple things. But
Well, I hope you know, I'm always so proud to be part of Fargo Public Schools. And tonight it just went over the top. Wow, huh? So, that's all.
All right, any other conversation? See, now I can hear myself. That's cool. Okay, Anne Marie, please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yes.
Rodenbiker,
Yes.
Ulrich,
Yes.
Ani,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes.
Goldenberg,
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes. Motion passes, thank you. And on to B, Long Range Facility Plan, South Side Land. Christy, that's also you.
Thank you. At the March 13th board meeting, we approved making an offer to purchase land in the far south, contingent upon the results of the land study, the Phase 1 study, and that was to test the soil. And we had the firm go out and do that, and we wanted to make sure that it was suitable for future development. That was conducted by Northern Technologies, and in this memo, you see that the report is back, and it has come back in favor. That is a building site for us. So the purchase price of the land is $1,850,000 for 78.3 acres. And so I would move that we authorize the administration to execute the attached real estate purchase agreement for $1.85 million for 78.3 acres and proceed with the earnest money deposit.
There's been a motion, is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
All right, thank you, Jim. Motion and a second. Any conversations, any questions? No, okay. Anne Marie, go ahead.
Paulson,
Yes.
Rodenbiker,
Yes.
Ulrich,
Yes.
Ani,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes.
Goldenberg,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes. Motion passes. All right, moving right along. Our last item on business is Superintendent Contract, and that's exciting. Good news. We were able to reach agreement, as the memo 103 states, regarding a contract and moving arrangements with Mr. Gandhi, the person that will be our new superintendent. And so there is a recommendation here. You'll notice that Mr. Gandhi has signed the contract. And so there is a recommendation here that we approve this contract this evening, as well as the relocation agreement. And I would entertain a motion for that. John?
President Knutson, I move that we approve the contract and relocation agreement with Mr. Rupak Gandhi.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any conversation or discussion on this? All right, Anne Marie, go ahead, please.
Rodenbiker,
Yes.
Ulrich,
Yes.
Ani,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes.
Goldenberg,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes. Motion passes. Yay. It's exciting. Kind of, a little bit, isn't it? Isn't this good? This is great. All right, moving on to board reports. Committee liaison and correspondence reports. John, let's start with you, please.
Thank you. Boy, it's hard to even remember anymore. I have notes someplace in my pile of notes. I guess the most recent thing, the negotiations committee just met before this meeting. We had I think, really good meeting with FEA last week. Really good discussions, and looking forward to meeting with them again this coming Monday, the 16th at 4:30 right here, continuing that conversation. And I was also able to attend the National School Board Association Conference over this past weekend. Really excellent conference. I've been to a lot of conferences, and this one just continues to impress. Very well organized, excellent speakers, and the session tracks are super appropriate for a wide variety of attendees. And I'm really looking forward to reporting back in a future meeting of what all I learned and heard there. So I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Linda?
Nothing really to report. The next meeting of the Community Development Committee is next week. Also, a week from Monday is the event when all of the fourth graders are bused to hear the symphony. So if anyone wants to help volunteer during that day, it's a lot of fun.
Thank you, Linda. Jennifer?
Having just returned this afternoon from the National Convention, I too have nothing yet prepared to share in that arena, but look forward to that conversation in the future.
David?
I attended PTA meetings at both Lewis and Clark and South, set up my last visitation, and that's it.
Thank you, David. How about Brandy, please?
Well, I attended the Eggs and Issues on Monday and then the NSBA conference this last weekend, and that's all I have. Thanks.
Christy?
NSBA, and that's it.
Jim?
I think everybody's aware of the fact that DPI has got a strategic visioning process going on, and we had a framework committee meeting today. Went about 3 hours. They are trying to hone in on what the vision should be for not just DPI, but all the stakeholders in North Dakota that are involved in education. So there's a wide variety of people involved. Parallel to this, however, there's also a governors group going. So as we discussed today, we're going back to our individual entities at this point in time to really look at what, based upon the community feedback when they went out and did meetings and the work of the Strategic Visioning Committee, how we would then implement what we think are the critical factors for success in actually pre-K through 12, because it's expanded past K-12 at this point in time. For each of the organization, I think we're scheduled to get back together in July with the hopes that maybe by the end of summer we'll have a working document that each of the different entities that are involved in education throughout the state can then look at and figure out how it builds into their operations, with the hope of hopefully not duplicating as much as we might be currently and identifying gaps that maybe somebody could fill. So I'll keep you posted as that comes together. It's the slowest strategic planning, visioning process I've ever been involved with. There's clearly a need for some local expertise in this area.
Diana?
So in addition to the Eggs and Issues and several negotiation sessions, I attended the Building Bridges Conference last week. And I've been going to this conference since it started several years ago. And it's always been a good conference, but it's really excelling from year to year. Quality, relevant, interesting speakers, and very interesting breakout sessions. And I think Fargo Public Schools was well represented with appropriate staff, and David Berkman from Woodrow participated in a panel. So I know it's difficult, and it's also difficult because it happens and has the last few years right after the national conference, and of course I didn't go, so it was easier for me to make it work. But I do encourage you in future to consider even attending for one day if you can make it work with your schedule, because I think it's valuable and important information for us to understand as our district continues to become more and more diverse. The more that we understand about the needs and diversity and some of the things that we can and are already doing as a board, I think it's important. So anyway.
All right, thank you, everyone. The president's report is being passed around. So some of the updates from you helped to remind me of what I've been doing. I want to echo Diana's comments regarding building bridges. I was fortunate to be able to attend that as well as Eggs and Issues last Monday. And it was interesting to hear the presentation from the three police chiefs in regard to the need for continuing to address the mental and emotional health needs in our community. That was a theme across the board. And I attended Monday evening over at Cheney Middle School in West Fargo, a presentation that was put together regarding the funding formula. And and Dr. Flowers was involved in that. And one other superintendent, I'm not quite sure where he was from. Dr. Schatz?
It was probably Steve Hall from Kindred.
You are right about that, yes. And so it's always good to hear that presentation over and over and over again. Legislators were there and also some candidates were there, local legislators and candidates. And so I talked with them afterwards and with some of them and heard very good feedback. And I think that it's something, again, that's going to be able to be, they need to hear it over and over again as well and to get a better understanding of the impact on the decisions that they're making in the legislature. I wanted to say NSBA yes, it was just wonderful, the National School Boards Association Conference, and so happy for everyone that was able to attend, and I'm looking forward to the learning that we are going to be able to bring back to the district and the recommendations from NSBA that are at a high level, in terms of a lot of what's going on federally and how we can take that and bring that here in regard to the issues that are so important for our young children. I know that on the President's report, it mentions, I think what's highlighted is high school graduation. And so anyone that has not spoken with Anne Marie yet regarding where you would like to be, please let her know right now, basically, right? There's no
Tonight.
time like the present, so
Tonight, please.
after the meeting, that would be great if you would do that. Okay, does anyone else have anything else that needs to be added on this regard? No? Okay. John, we are moving on to number 9.
Yes, President Knutson, I would move we enter executive session for the purpose of negotiation strategy as permitted under North Dakota Century Code, section 44-04-19.1.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to enter executive session, and all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? All right, we will please clear the room. Other than, take a little break, take a 5-minute break, and those of us Whoa, that's all. We're going to adjourn, folks, it's 7:20 PM, and we will adjourn this regular meeting of the Fargo Board of Education. Thank you for coming.